Okay, welcome to the JC Show. I don't know what episode it is, but we're going to roll out with this one. I think it's three. Yeah, here we go. Right, so on this particular show, what we're going to discuss is a question that's coming from Emma. And Emma's asking about the imposter syndrome. So we're going to touch onto this a little bit later on for you, Emma. Also, what CK is going to do is going to share with you some of his presenting techniques. So CK's obviously done a lot on stage. He's done
theatre.
A lot of theatre in his leggings. He's not. He really ain't.
Just my bedroom.
No, just his bedroom. His mum's leggings. But anyway, no. But CK has done a lot. You know, he's presented for Red Bull. He's presented for tram lines in Sheffield. And obviously a lot of his talk stuff that he's done talking about whatever it is he does. I don't really know what he does. I don't think he does. But anyway.
Do you want to start this again?
No, right. It's all cool.
Okay. All right,
good.
I'm happy with that. No.
Are you happy with that? Yeah, you sure?
I'm just thinking. Have I presented for Red Bull?
Did you not?
Did you just make that up?
I thought it was Red Bull.
Yeah, I think you made that up.
No.
Immaterial.
He's done something for Red Bull anyway.
So,
yeah. Did you?
To clarify, ultimately we've had over the last, honestly, in the last 4 to 8 weeks,
okay, yeah,
I've not had as many people asking me for my thoughts and advice and guidance when it comes to delivering content online through video vlogs.
Totally.
Whether it's presenting at events, it's really and I'm actually questioning why it's happening so much now. It's because obviously there's a movement to everybody creating content online. Video is very much the focus of everything nowadays. Whether it's for your company or brand, or whether you're the brand yourself and you're a creator. And I agree, by the way, video is an incredibly powerful means of communicating your life, documenting what you do. Everything. So I've just been having a lot of people asking me, like, how do you do it in a natural, authentic way that's true to you but communicates the values and what you believe in and what you're creating?
I mean, CK is going to obviously get in depth on this, but the first thing is like anything, you just got to get started. That's the first thing that you got to do, is just get started. But if you want to look at the mechanics behind it, I mean, CK is very big on the mechanic stuff. You really get probably a little bit sometimes. He probably sometimes spends a little bit too much time digging into the mechanics.
When you say mechanics, what do you mean by mechanics? Like,
what I'm trying to say,
speaking efficiently and like.
No,
what do you mean?
It dicks around too much. But listen, day 2 is good.
All right.
Share with the good folk some of the tips that you can provide them with, to help them.
No, well, we're definitely going to have a look at that, and we're going to, before we get on to there's 2 things I'm going to talk about. If you ignore all else, there's just 2 things I'd really like you to focus on when it comes to communicating and sharing your content online through video, be it blogging, whatever. There's just 2 points I'm going to share with you in a bit. But first, as usual, what?
Go.
As usual, I want to let's. What have we learned in the last 7 days since last week?
Sure, man. You were just telling me earlier on about a bit of a breakthrough you've had in terms of what you've been discovering. So I mean, by all means, this is quite good actually, and it's something that I think that so many people need to be more aware of. So shoot.
I think, okay, so in the last episode, I suppose over the last 2 episodes, we've been talking a lot about how creatives doubt themselves.
Yeah.
And how do you know if your work is worthwhile? How do you know?
Yeah.
And this has been really interesting, because what's happened in the last 2 weeks, a lot of people have been following my content. I've said, CK, by the way, I've been following your stuff for the last month, whatever it is. Really like it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, why didn't you tell me this a month ago? But I'm being a little bit facetious when I say that, but I think that's indicative of creatives, or just the internet as a whole. We tend to consume more than we create. I mean, that's just a fact. There's a stat to say that about 90% of people are creators, 10% are creators, 90% are just observers and consumers of content.
You changed that earlier. You said 80-20, but
maybe.
I'll let that
but even less actually communicate to the people I really enjoy. I love that stuff you're doing, and I just told them, like, if all creators told other creators that they're watching, I love your stuff, that's just giving everybody an opportunity to know, right? I'm doing this for a reason. People are enjoying it. I personally, as a human being, there's about maybe 15 people online whose work I adore. And since I realised not enough of us are telling each other, I'm just telling them all now. I'm like, your stuff's class.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering how many creators are following other creators online, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, whatever. Like, are you telling them that you're their fan? I know fan sounds cheesy, but you know what I mean.
I totally agree. Yeah.
And I just 100% think it's a viable thing to do.
I think that there's a slight hook onto this as well, and I think that this is something that I blogged about yesterday, and I think that you've got to be very, very careful that you don't consume the wrong kind of media as well. So, it's much better for you to create the news rather than read the news. And let me explain why really quickly. Is when you start to actually just absorb the news and you're reading the news, think about it when you're in Facebook. You know, you lose an hour, 2 hours. You could lose a full day just scrolling through your newsfeed, and it makes you feel shit. You come off of Facebook and you feel down because everyone's talking down. Everyone's talking negativity. Instagram's slightly different. I mean, CK keeps getting stalked by automatic bots, which is cool.
I've told them about themselves though.
Yeah. He put them in the place.
I did. Check my Facebook page.
Check his Facebook page. Yeah, but what I'm trying to get across here is that, you know, be very cautious about who you follow. So the best way to do it is to make sure that you're following the groups, the people, the thing that you like. Because if you just start scrolling endlessly and start lurking, it just plays havoc with your emotions. You know, you come off there, you look at other people, what's got things that may or may not be real. You know, Facebook's not always real. How people's life come across on Facebook, and it's not always that way. People will moan and whinge and whine. And it's very easy for you to fall into that situation where you're starting to feel that way yourself, and you start to doubt yourself, or you feel depressed and down and stuff as well. So just be very cautious that you've got the balance right between creating and consuming as well.
That's fair enough. So tell me also, what have you learnt this week?
And well, do you know, like I said on the last show, do you know, I'm in a constant state of learning, and I should probably wear that T-shirt, shouldn't I? Really, the Stay Humble and Hustle Hard T-shirt, really, because it is a rule that.
Can I just ask you? You alluded to that T-shirt last week. Is this Is every week I say to you, what have you learned? Are you just basically going to say, I learn every week? Oh, I forgot my T-shirt. It's just basic. Is there a link in the box to your T-shirt?
Should I put a link?
I think you should. Otherwise, this has just been a pointless endeavour.
We'll put a link in. Yeah.
All right.
Do you know what? No, I used to sell the T-shirts and I stopped selling them. So.
Did you stop selling them, or did nobody buy them?
No. I took them off. I refunded a few people because I was getting let down by the company that were producing the T-shirts for me. So I pulled them offline, and because that's not my business. It was just that it was a nice hook. Coming back to what I've learnt though, what have I learnt this week? I've learnt that, you know, I've learned that so many people are ambitious, are passionate, are driven, but they've got a huge amount of fear inside them. And it's not something that's newly learned. I think it's just something, again, that's become more aware. How fearful people are, you know, how scared they are of being rejected or looking foolish, or, you know, people saying bad things about them. And I think that the real learning point to come from this is to recognise that, you know, other people don't really care too much about your feelings. I think that you've got to do what you think is right for you.
I don't think it's that people don't care about your feelings. It's that people. It's like that saying you and I adore. If you knew how little people are thinking about you, you wouldn't worry about how much people think about you at all.
Exactly.
Bob Proctor, 1993. I don't know when he said it, but Bob Proctor said that, and I love it.
Absolutely, Bob said it. Yeah, and but I think that the thing is that no one really cares about your feelings. But we are driven by what we think people think about us, which affects our feelings. And I think that it's the thing that cripples most people, which ties in really, really nicely into the presenting side of things.
Is genuinely does.
And I think that's one of the things that I'm constantly just being more aware of, is how fearful people are for this. And it's not something new, but it's more awareness that I'm creating around this, and how many people are scared to do that Facebook video, to do that Facebook Live, to do that Instagram, you know, that Snapchat,
become a YouTuber,
whatever it is,
yeah.
Because you're fearful of what people might think, or what people might say, or what reactions people's going to get. And I think it just astounds me how many people are scared of that. And I think that what you've got to do is you've got to get a bit of rhinoceros skin. You've got to get a bit thick-skinned, let it just bounce off you. It's not going to penetrate. Yes, it may sting a little bit, but it's not going to stick around for a long time.
So you could do that. You could grow a rhinoceros skin, but if we lead this nicely into what we're going to feature mainly today, which is presenting and delivering your content naturally, authentically, in a way that you feel comfortable with, then I actually don't think it has anything to do with growing a rhinoceros skin. Try saying growing a rhinoceros skin. Not the easiest thing.
I'll leave it to you, because obviously you do
leave
so
me
well.
to mess it up. All right. I don't actually think it is about growing a rhinoceros skin. So the question which I've received repeatedly over the last, we'll see. Over the last 6 weeks, the question that I've received more than anything is, CK, like, how do I just deliver content? And I'm going to give you an exact example of this. One of my clients is called Marissa, beautiful Marissa. She's the MD of a company in Sheffield, and she sells branded merchandise to companies of galactic scale and across the range. And she wanted to start creating video content online through YouTube, through LinkedIn, which just brings people into her company, and she wanted her and her staff to be the face of it and deliver the content. And she's like, how do I start? How do I deliver this content in a meaningful, natural way?
Okay.
Now, what really surprised me about that is that I remember the very first time I met Marissa, she has no problem speaking.
Yeah.
Like, she's like a sales machine. Like,
Sure.
I almost bought everything she was selling. So I met her at an event.
But a salesperson's the easiest person to sell to.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So.
And she had no problem. But when it comes to video, there was a barrier that she perceived that stopped her just creating content.
Yeah.
And you know, my one tip to anybody that has this barrier stopping them creating video content, it's really simple. I think what it is people thinking, I think it's the fear of not knowing how many people are going to see this. Like, strangers are going to see me. Like, how many people are going to see my video? How many people are going to be able to critique me or question me or whatever? And I think that's the biggest problem. What I would strongly recommend people start doing is actually, you're only ever really speaking to one person.
Okay.
And this goes back to when I started off in radio, and my program director said to me, CK, when you're on the air, you're only ever speaking to one person. Now, it turned out I only was ever speaking to one person because no one was listening. But
because you forgot to press the button that took it live. You just took it to yourself.
No.
Is it your mum?
Nope.
Your dad?
Nope. I mean, we've got a show to do.
Oh, yeah.
So it was that you're only ever speaking to one person.
Who was the one person?
Mum.
Your mum?
Yeah.
I just said that.
I know.
Okay.
But I'll say my mum on
Well,
my terms, not your terms.
technically it were two people though, because I was with your mum. But...
I look forward to that being edited out. But his point was, you're only ever speaking to one person, and I remember, I didn't know what he meant at the time, but the way you communicate, you're only ever speaking to one person. So my tip on who that one person should be, everybody, whether they're a business owner, whether they're a creator, whatever you do online and wherever you do it, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, who's the one person that communicates, shares, likes, retweets everything you do? Like, who's your biggest ambassador? Who's your biggest cheerleader? Who loves your content most? Every single time I press record on one of my videos, that's who I'm talking to.
Okay.
Like, literally my biggest cheerleader, because they're the people who are turning up to watch my content.
Sure.
So everything I'm talking, I've just got them in my mind.
Okay.
I'm talking to them. So find out that one person who's your biggest cheerleader, and that's the only person you need to concern yourself about talking to. Hopefully that person is a friend, because it's so much easier to talk to a friend.
Okay.
So if you're creating video content and you envision you're talking to a friend, that already makes it a lot less daunting, a lot less apprehensive. It's just an easier process. So the first thing you need to do, whatever you want to do online, who's your cheerleader? That's the one person you're going to start talking to.
That's good. Yep.
Now,
and grow a rhinoceros skin. Seriously, you need to get thick skin, guys. This stuff is gold. What CK is sharing with you right now. But listen. Nothing will do you better than being able to brush off these because you're going to get criticism. People will start to criticize. If you get that attention right, if you get the frequency right in your blogs, your vlogs, your videos, your YouTube, whatever it is that you're doing,
might be worthwhile turning this off.
Yeah, you should probably turn it off. If you get the attention right and the frequency switch is right, you will get people criticizing you, and that's going to be hard to deal with because you're giving everything to what you do. You really believe in it. You're sold on it yourself. You love what you're doing. Why would anyone criticize you? Because they do. And this is something that you've got to get past. You've got to get over it because people will criticize you. And it may get worse than that. They may start, hounding you and hating on you as well. But that's good because it means that you're getting some good attention now. And they're the fire. You need to keep feeding them because they're going to talk about you.
Okay, I mean, what Johnny's saying about growing a rhinoceros skin, to be fair, obviously he's right. That's probably something that someone's going to take a little bit longer to develop than actually just mentally getting themselves into a state of mind. Okay, I'm talking to Lucy. I'm talking to Max. Right. So he's right. In terms of a quick fix to get you doing it quicker, as you said, just start doing. This is going to be just a tactic you can implement straight away, just to get you thinking, all right, okay, I'm talking to Lucy, I'm not talking to everybody. And it's the thought that I'm talking to everybody that actually limits people from starting.
Yeah.
So, and in terms of mechanically being a more effective speaker, for me, it comes down to one thing. If you're going to do one thing right now, it's just limit the amount of ums you drop into your dialogue when you're talking. Like, it's just...
And what's the tip? Give him a tip to deal with that. So what would you do?
Okay,
I'll tell you what I do.
Okay.
After you tell me what you do.
Okay, I mean, fine. The person I'm going to use a case study, Emma. I'm going to use a case study, Emma. I want you to YouTube Emma Canley. She's a copywriter in London that I met in the last couple of months. And what she doesn't know about copywriting and crafting seductive text for your landing page and your website, your marketing materials, what she doesn't know isn't worth knowing.
Yep.
And she wanted to start communicating that on YouTube and said, CK, I want to start doing vlogging.
Did she used to earn a lot?
That's what I'm coming to. she didn't have any way to start with. She hadn't started. So, okay, if you're going to do that, do it. The one thing I'll say to you, because you're very knowledgeable, don't Why? Because it undermines your credibility.
Right.
Nothing will undermine your credibility as a thought leader more than every 2 minutes.
Okay,
and
yeah.
the thing about all the time is that no one's really thinking he or she a lot, but subconsciously they're thinking, I don't want to work with you because you don't sound like you know what you're talking about. It's as simple as that. No one's going to think stop but subconsciously they're very much going to be thinking, nah.
So how do they deal with it? And what would you
deal
suggest
with
to do?
To deal with it, it's really simple. Once I say to you, stop erming, and all I want you to do from now on is think about the erms. You stop feeling when they're coming.
Yeah.
Like once you're mindful that my whole task for this talk is to not erm, you stop feeling them coming.
Yeah.
And when you feel one coming, all you do is say nothing.
Okay.
Easy as that.
Yeah.
Once you feel an erm coming, say nothing. And I tried this with Marissa, and she said, I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing. You 100% can. Do you know why? Nothing breeds confidence more than silence. If you feel comfortable enough to say nothing, like that, that elevates credibility. And I say to people all the time, just YouTube Barack Obama speech. Watch Barack Obama speaking. He says less. He's silent more than he's speaking.
Right. Okay.
And all world leaders do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you can hang off a certain word with silence, and it just makes it much more impactful. I'll tell you what I do. My little tip that I do, because erming is something that I've done, and I think that everyone starts somewhere, and this is the thing: is don't give yourself a hard time if you do erm. Just as CK says, be more aware of it. And one of the things that I do is silence to a certain degree. But what I do is I just take a breath in, or I swallow. So if I can feel an erm coming, I'll swallow. So I use a swallow.
Is this what you were going to say anyway?
Yeah.
Before I started talking about silence.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
So I'll swallow. So if you see some of my videos and if I can feel it, there's an erm, because you do feel it. You know, you once you become more focused,
you're mindful of it.
Yeah, you're mindful of it.
100%.
You can certainly feel it. So I'll just swallow. And I use that as a breathing space. A lot of the time, the reason why we're erming is because we were giving ourselves a little bit of time to think. And you can think with the silence. You can think with the swallow. So that's all you've got to do. Practice it. And practice it and practice it. You're never going to be perfect, but you can make progress on this.
But again, just because I like to give actual ways people can test this. So I'm just going to look at Emma's YouTube. I think she's now got 8 videos up.
Right, brilliant. So check it out.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there's one in particular I want you to search for. This is when I emailed her saying I'm so proud of you because she just nailed it. Like it was a 7-minute piece, void of any erms.
Awesome.
What was that video called now? I've written it down somewhere. It was something about how to boost. Here we go. How to boost your blog views by Emma Cownley. Cownley.
If you find the link, we'll get it put into the actual description of this video as well.
Watch
so
that. And then maybe watch some of the previous episodes when it was more rich.
Fantastic. Cool. Right. So moving on to the question. What was the girl who's
It was Emma.
Oh, it was Emma.
Emma's the one asking this question.
Oh, right. So it's Emma asking this question.
Correct.
Oh, right. Okay. So
Emma's getting involved.
Emma's getting involved. Emma, let's roll. Right. So the question was.
There's no point. My battery's gone.
Oh, right, okay,
that's why I had to write it down early on the top of the show. I was scribbling before the battery went.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. So the question
is.
It's about imposter syndrome,
yes.
isn't it? Yeah.
I tend to suffer from imposter syndrome. And I feel like someone will call me out on my expertise.
Okay.
Have you got any tips for managing imposter syndrome?
Right. The first thing I'll say about imposter syndrome is what you've got to understand is that actually stop looking at it as a negative and start looking at it as a positive. And let me explain what I mean by that. Is imposter syndrome, all it really is it means you're moving from your comfort zone. That's why you feel uncomfortable with it. That's why you feel like you're going to get caught out. That's why it feels like people's going to catch you out and you're not going to be any good. Because you're moving from somewhere that you're really comfortable to somewhere new. And that's all it is you're moving from where you're comfortable to a new place. And yes, you might be a little bit uncertain. That's why you feel you're going to get caught out. But that's a good thing because you need to grow. And by growing, growing is what's going to take you to that next level. You know, I think it was Richard Branson who said, if you get offered an opportunity and you don't know how to do it, accept it anyway and figure it out. And that's all this is you're figuring it out, the next stage, the next
I've lost count of the number of people that employed that and they're just super successful. Like when they got their first break, I was like, I ain't got a clue, but I'll figure it out. They don't tell the person offering him, they don't need to know.
Totally. I'll figure it out. And that's the thing. And this is what imposter syndrome really is it's a matter of fact that, you know, you're moving from a place that's comfortable, that you feel safe, secure, and you're knowledgeable in, and you're moving into a new place that's a little bit uncertain. So as a result of that, you feel like imposter syndrome's kicking in. That's all it really needs to be. There don't need to be anything other than that. And you know, just stop saying it to yourself.
So what you're saying, just embrace the fact you feel somewhat.
Embrace it. Yeah, look forward to it. You know, you want more of that kind of feeling because it means that you're moving
forward.
You're moving forward.
So it's a mindset shift.
Absolutely.
As everything ever is.
As everything is. Everything's mindset based. But this ain't going to do it for you. You know, ultimately, you can think about things in the right way, but you've got to go and do something yourself. So go and do it. Keep doing what you're doing though, because if you're getting that feeling...
And adjust.
Yeah.
Last week's episode was just you basically saying adjust.
But that's all we've got.
We should make a mashup for that. It might go far.
Adjust.
Empty hammer pants.
Yeah, okay, right, cool.
Last week we had some homework. We closed with homework, but this week's homework is a little bit more fun. It's less taxing, more fun this week's homework.
But, very briefly, before we do that, did you do the homework last week? Let us know. Tweet us, message us. You've got his angles on here. Give us a message, let us know. So,
introducing Floats My Quote.
Floats My Quote. That's great. That's a good name. Who thought of that? That's not yours, is it?
Floats My Quote. That's going to be the hashtag. Floats My Quote.
What is your favourite quote? What's yours?
Quotes are everywhere now.
Well, everywhere's quotes.
They're everywhere, and that's what made me think. Like, everybody loves a quote. So what's your favourite quote? My favourite quote of all time. I was going to
of all time.
No. Of all time. Right. I was so close to getting this tattooed on my arm, then I realised I was scared of tattoos.
Scared of tattoos. Scared of needles.
I realised I was a wimp. My favourite quote of all time is "The whisper is louder than the shout," and I heard that during a Mercedes-Benz advert. If you're bored, I've sent you enough YouTube videos to check out.
Right.
Search Mercedes-Benz presence. Mercedes-Benz presence, not presence in gift. Someone has presence, right? It's just an amazing advert. One of my favourite adverts ever. And right at the end, it says, "The whisper is louder than the shout." And I think, I don't know, you know, everyone's interpretation of that is going to be different, but for me, the whisper, it's kind of let your work speak for itself. Like, forget all the bells and the whistles. Just create stuff you love.
Fantastic.
Put it out.
If you've got a favourite quote, you know, tweet us.
What's yours?
Put it on Instagram, email us, whatever it is. Send us yours because we obviously would be intrigued to know what resonates with yourself. Mine changes, you know, like anything. I think that it's all, you know, relevant to what you're focusing on at the moment. And I suppose let's pull a quote into things that's relevant right now, and it's something that we were talking about earlier on. And I think that while we're talking about mindset and attitude and all that kind of stuff, let's just go on one that we mentioned earlier. So it's really relevant is that
altitude.
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, your attitude will determine your altitude, not your aptitude. And that is so true. You know, if your attitude's right, that'll determine how far you go, not how intelligent you are. And that's the truth of this. Get your mindset right, stay focused, stay committed, and get your attitude levels good, and you'll do good. I'm out.
Can I just say you've seemed really like you're in a rush today. You've been in the toilet. You've like been really rushed. Or did you just think last week's show was too long? Because there's a bit of that in both of us.
Do you think? I've no idea.
You've just been like you've seemed a bit panicky.
Do you think that it's been a little bit rushed? If so,
he's rushed a lot this week, and I don't know why.
If so,
what's on your mind, big
send us a message.
What's on your mind?
Send us a message.
Come on,
I'm hungry.
You're hungry.
I'm hungry.
But you're always
I'm hungry. I got some calls to make. I've got some money to collect.
Always.
But no, cool. Right, guys, listen, hope you've enjoyed it, as always. If you've got any more questions for the next show, send in your messages. Let us have your quotes, and I hope you've enjoyed it.
If there's any quotes online you already like, then you don't have to upload it or anything. Just write underneath it, floats my quote, hashtag floats my quote, and you'll find it. Just write it underneath their thing.
Yeah, cool. Names are above. There we go. Cool. Guys, have an awesome day.